giving them the opportunity to kind of move between the freedoms of university and the constraints of boarding. So the National Maths and Science College opened in 2016, and we were established to offer elite STEM education to students from around the world. Most of my students are boarders. They come from 26 different nationalities, and they're here because they share a passion for maths and science, and they want to push that boundary as far as possible. And it's that vision that attracted me here. My background is in traditional boarding schools. I've worked at kind of Wells Cathedral School, Taunton School before that. And I love traditional boarding. And what we're trying to do here is take some of the university experience and some of the traditional boarding experience and meld them together to create that perfect opportunity for young people to transition from school to university in a modern, exciting environment where they can study maths and science to the highest possible levels. So I think what makes that sixth form college experience a little bit different to a traditional boarding school is the amount of freedom that's offered to the students. They get the opportunity to grow and stretch their wings a little bit more. We're slightly less constrained than a traditional boarding school in terms of rules and regulations. But we have all those care and that support that boarding schools do so well. We make sure that all of that's there around the edge to encourage them to develop good habits and good skills while they're with us. So whilst we'll have a formalised prep time, like many boarding schools will, we're much more flexible about it. So if students want to work at a different time, they can agree a different time with the house parent to work. So they don't have to be working at a particular fixed time in the day. And same with a lot of the other aspects of it. We can just add that little bit of flexibility so that the experience we give them while they're with us helps them prepare for taking on complete ownership of all of that when they go to university at the end of a couple of years. Compared to a traditional boarding school where you've got often gloriously pretty, very old buildings, we have a very modern boarding house. Every student gets their own single room with an ensuite bathroom. So it's got all of that kind of care and support that young people really want in terms of that sixth form experience. So they're not having to share with somebody else. They have that space and that independence that's so important to them at that age. But at the same time, kind of just down the corridor, they'll have a kitchen space or a common room space where they can sit and chat with their friends or do some work together in a group. So they get the kind of best of both experiences there. The college is based in Coventry, right on the edge of Warwick University. It's about a kind of 5-10 minute walk down to the university. And our students will often pop down there to use the arts centre or the theatre study bits down there, or possibly to use the university library. So we're really lucky to have that facility on our doorstep. So the students have a lot of freedom outside of lessons. So the year twos, if they don't have a lesson, they're allowed to come in a little bit late or leave a little bit early and pop into the university or pop down to the shops. The year ones, we encourage to be in lessons and in college all the time, at least to begin with, until they've shown that they've got good working habits established, and gradually we will loosen those kind of bounds with them over the course of that first year or so. We would describe it as kind of a halfway house, kind of that staging post from traditional boarding, which inevitably has to be quite controlled, through to university where inevitably there's very little control. And we sit somewhere in that middle, giving them the opportunity to kind of move between the freedoms of university and the constraints of boarding in a way that takes them on a journey through that, so they can establish that kind of routine that they need themselves so they can really own university and do it as well as they possibly can. We take that idea from what you might experience in like a maths department at a university, where there are boards up in the corridors where students can stop and think and work on a problem. And so as you walk around the corridors in the college, you'll find whiteboards where students are working on difficult maths problems or difficult physics or biology problems. They're not homework, they don't have to do them. They're just there to give the students the opportunity to challenge themselves to do something hard. And so often they're questions taken from step papers or math exams or beyond the syllabus, giving them the opportunity to just stretch their wings a little bit and see how far they can push themselves. And it's wonderful to watch them doing it together. It's often a group activity. It's very rare somebody works on it by themselves. There's normally two of them talking about the problem, saying, maybe try this, thinking about that. And sometimes you'll find somebody will start the problem but not sure how to finish it, and then somebody else will come along later and pick up from where they left off and finish the problem off. And it's just a wonderful environment in which they can develop that understanding and that thinking.